Hello? Can everybody hear me? We're doing this for the first time ever, so we're hopeful that this works. Okay, so I'm Kenny Himes, firefighter, forest firefighter. Did it for a short time. Did some industrial stuff. Qualified paramedic, qualified journalist, broadcaster. Graduate of the University of Public Relations at UVic. Great place. But today I'm bringing the fires to you, and it's really crappy what's going on there. It's actually absolutely horrible and shitty what's just happened in Jasper, BC. Jasper, BC is one of the most beautiful places in the world, and it's been marginalized and crushed by this fire, and it's so beautiful. And for most people in Canada that have never been around Canada, you'll have to understand that this is a pearl, this is a jewel of Canada. It's so beautiful. The animals, wild animals, burned down, okay? We're not getting a lot of information. And we're not getting a lot of information, we're not getting a lot of names or numbers. We also have a fire that's in SOOKE, BC right now. And it's near the watershed, it's near a park. Galloping Goose is a trail. And there's the SOOKE potholes, and this is SOOKE, BC. Now, just so you know, I am legit. That's not legit. I was in broadcaster for a political show out in SOOKE many years ago before John Horgan got elected. And as a broadcaster, I took him on. And my buddy Rick Gardner was putting on the show up there. It was a SOOKE Days. It was Shirley Days, I should say. Shirley Days. And so they gave me the shirt. But it doesn't take from the fact that I was a combat medic in the Army, and it doesn't take for the fact that, sorry about this, that I also fought fires in Kelowna with the Army. And there's several things that are disappointing about this. One, lack of confidence in the reporting. Like, we have lots of reporters, lots of ordinary reporters, fake reporters, we've got all kinds of people, but we're not getting a lot of information back from SOOKE, BC. Now, we've just lost Jasper, and that's horrific in itself. So basically, let me dim this here a bit. So basically, we need to get help fast. How many numbers do we need? Can I grab a pick and an axe? Can I come out and shovel something? And the lighting's terrible. So, okay, that might be better. So basically, we need to get people. We need to know where the people are. We need to know how bad it is. I'm listening to a little bit of Weather Canada, but I'm listening to the BC Fire community, and that once a day they come on. They should be coming on hourly, I think, when places are completely burning down. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing to say the least that these things aren't happening. And there are people out there like you and me, healthy-bodied people, that would go and fight fires. And why shouldn't we be fighting fires? Well, honestly, we should be fighting fires. And if you're healthy enough, you're of stable mind, you should do this. I remember in Vancouver, they were going downtown and picking up people in a bus that probably shouldn't be fighting fires. And it was a little much. It was a bit odd, but I was with the military. We met with the fire people in the beginning, the forest fires, the people, the media. We knew our plan going into this, and as the Army, we just separated from the rest. And I was only a corporal at the time, and they wanted to make me platoon commander, which is, I'm equivalent to a warrant officer with 30, 40 people underneath me. And I kept saying to these PPCLI guys, these are the best fighters in the world from Canada. There's RCR, there's great Canadians, these are part of that. There's great infantry warriors and many, many great Canadians, which I'm so proud of. But these guys, they wanted me to take over. I couldn't take over a section. I had a platoon at one point. Miles Mansell, I love him. Named a street after him here in Victoria, British Columbia. Beautiful man, died in Afghanistan. But he was there during the firefighting in Kelowna, and I had this job. And as a corporal, the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry said, "Kenny, you're in charge of the platoon." I said, "We actually have a standard operational thing. Even though if I'm in the reserves or whatever, militia, as some people might say in America, we still have to be able to do this stuff." So that was okay. I was able to be a corporal. And then a sergeant stepped down. Miles Mansell, who died in Afghanistan, love him, went out for a ride and never came back. Just named a street after him off Triangle Mountain here in Victoria, BC. SOOKE, Sydney, BC, all these different places, but really it's about British Columbia and Victoria. And this poor guy died. He was such a comedian, such a friendly, fun guy. And he died. But we were fighting fires in Kelowna prior to that, and it was a wild time. You need to know every day which way the wind's blowing. You need to know every day where the water's coming from, how your logistics are doing. Are your people sleeping on the line? People get tired out there, right? They're up fighting the fires where the crazy shit happens, where fire can roll across you and kill you and wipe you out. You might need those blankets, whatever. I'm not a pure firefighter. I only did it for a little while, but it was very educational. So now we don't know anything that's going on. Trudeau's in Tofino right now and celebrating vacation time, whatever. We had Sajan, our East Indian NDP critic. He was on TV at least with the Jasper, Alberta firefighting people, and that's okay. At least he's there doing something. And basically at this point, there's a lot of people like me, because there's a few military guys out here, Navy guys, etc., that have some great skill sets. And I'm by no means the best at this, but I am good at motivating, getting people together. But there's a lot of talent here. We want to know what's happening in SOOKE, BC. What is happening in SOOKE, BC? We got a little bit of radio here, a little bit of TV. They're showing us the same clips over and over again. So if I have to, I'm going to grab my media mask, put it on, and go out there. I got a camera guy. We're going to go out there. We're going to film what the hell is going on. We need to know. The weather's this. The fire's larger than ever, but the winds died down. What's next? Jasper, BC. And I'm not going to cry. I promise I will not cry here. But that's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I could see why the mayor, that lady that came out, would say something like that. Because it is very true that just lost that jewel. And it's I don't know how many businesses, how many houses, how many people lost their lives. And it's hard to imagine. It really is. So what's happening in SOOKE, BC? Does anybody know? The police, they were looking for people distracted driving. I seen all kinds of signs. It must have taken a long time to put those signs out along Veterans Parkway. Thank you for Veterans Parkway, Stu Young, the mayor, former mayor, for giving us at least that. And actually, by the way, I would put signs up there with each person that passed away from this area or this island, like they do in New Brunswick, where they really care about heroes and people that saved them during World War II, etc. Afghanistan. They have actual signs along most of the streets. It's a picture, and it could be a dog. You know, it could be a goat or something. Just somebody that actually done something for the war effort. We don't have that here. So I don't want to marginalize that or get onto that. But the real answer and the real questions concern me is, what can we do about SOOKE, BC? Is anybody really looking at this? Are we waiting for Trudeau to save us? John Horgan's long gone. Well, do we have any answers? The stress, the anxiety, the drug intuition to take something or to drink away or do this sort of thing is part of it. It's part of the anxiety of not knowing what to do. Are your survival gears packed? When I was in recon platoon with Special Forces in the Canadian Armed Forces, it was the greatest time of my life because there were only 3 of us. It was dangerous shit. Even if it was practice, rehearsal, it was dangerous. It helped when I went to the Middle East, to Cyprus. And my friends have gone on to bigger, far more exciting careers than I have. And I love each and every one of you. Royal Canadian Regiment, PPCLI, the service battalions, the medics where I trained as a combat medic. And all of this was so important to me. And to this day, I keep thinking about my love for this country and how I can support and help and do things. And tonight, I don't know what's going on in the news. This wildfire can destroy SOOKE. SOOKE is it's a small community along the coast of Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Vancouver if you're American checking in or from somewhere else place in the world. It's a beautiful spot. Sleepy little SOOKE maybe. You know, I don't think they have movie theaters and stuff, but just a great bunch of people that have traveled outside our big city of Victoria, BC. And they're one of our 14 municipalities. 14 municipalities means there isn't a dedicated fire department. There isn't a dedicated, police department because they're branched off into this smaller community and they don't have the resources. So these RCMP, this fire department, they're just small. They're small. It's not like a big city where you have so many people within the boundaries of New York or Baltimore, Los Angeles or Toronto. We could just go on and on, right? It's a very tiny place. And right now we have a radio station. I'm sure they're doing well. CFAX 1070 is a great station. It's the best station to keep up on things. But they are carrying a heavy load. They can't do it. They can't do it. I mean, we need help. We need to get the resources. We need to get the people in there. There's nothing bigger right now than SOOKE, BC, and the possibility of it burning down. And where does it go from there? Metchosin means stinky fish. I thought I had a little comedy to this. No one's died yet out here, thank God. So Metchosin is another place. It's literally called stinky fish by the natives. Love the natives. Incredible professors of the land and scientists. And but we're really stuck right now. We need your help. And I don't know why they don't have volunteers right now. I don't like to have old time. I'm a Kelowna guy, Edmonton guy, in the fire department and paramedic. And that's where I kind of got my training to become a combat medic. But why aren't we getting more people involved? Why don't we know what's going on? I don't hear any planes going across. I don't hear any helicopters going across, which tells me it's a good thing. Because a few years ago, over on Mill Hill in Langford, BC, made famous by Stu Young and that organization at the time, they had a lot of helicopters, a lot of water hitting Mill Hill, which is very close to where I am at this time. Yeah, where the studio is here, the Ken Hurricane Himes Sports Broadcasting Studio, who's put on another hat tonight to do this sort of thing. And I want to tell you all, I met some of the greatest military guys, and they weren't firefighters. And then suddenly we are in Kelowna, and it's burning down. It is burning down like a mofo. Like they told us, get in there the first night. I was with the Canadian Scottish Regiment. A lot of famous guys there. One or two, qualified 100% military guys 24/7. Didn't matter. The reserve guys sometimes had their back totally. And so we had all these people, 2 buses going up to Kelowna. When we got to the top of Kelowna, it was dangerous. It was scary. And what was going on in Kelowna was the trees were candling. I never heard of this. Trees candling? What the hell does that mean? Pfft, the fire would go up them and boom, they'd explode. And there was this one guy where the first night we were sent to, and here's a little secret. Take it to the bank if you want. But we had to fight the fires on the other side. But for the majority, there was a lot of vineyards, wineries. Next day, it came out in orders. Save the vineyards, save the wineries, because that's where the money is and stuff. By that time, 248 houses, maybe 253 houses had burned down in Kelowna. But that one night, I sat on the bus, and I hated it because I was sitting, but the boys came back within a half an hour. We had to get the hell out of there because they were just falling through the swimming pools. They were crashing and burning, and it was unbelievable. Because when trees explode, that sort of thing, and you're close to it, it sounds like a bomb going off. You've heard gunshots maybe in your lifetime, but there's nothing like a tree exploding. 248, 253 houses, something like that. we went back. I was a medic. I was happy to be a medic. I was training the guys on the trip there. I was giving them first aid lessons, giving burn lessons and stuff. And we got up there. And went to work. And it wasn't perfect. Some guys were falling asleep. Some guys weren't doing their jobs. I was just a corporal. But if my guys weren't wearing their gloves, not my frickin' section. Not my platoon, man. Corporal Himes was all over it. And you'd be cleaning, the tools later on. Pulaski, the hammers, the axes, whatever needed to be cleaned. You'd be doing a little extra work and thinking about the danger you put yourself in and the fact that we lose you, we got nobody to replace you. It was an interesting time. Military there. We had a couple girls. I remember we went to a meeting and they were on the kindergarten tottering back and forth, and it was kind of a light moment for all of us to see these two ladies, and both were tough infantry types. But we all like to look at it like, oh yeah, okay, so let's not get political here. But these are all very tough ladies, and but it took away from that moment where like hundreds and hundreds of people gather every day to reset and to make sure that they know how to fight this fire, where the weather is, the meteorologists are there, all these great people are there. And it's so important for that because you need to have information. So we already have enough drug abuse and issues in this country. I've seen it firsthand. We're all susceptible to things happening, right? But the worst thing is when you get people tense and crazy and they just don't know the answers, then it can divert into that. It can go into this scenario where our people are needing to be protected because they kind of lost their minds. And the government, local, provincial, municipal, whatever, federal, are not doing their jobs to inform us of the duties of knowing what's going on at all times. You know what? You throw 1,000 people at SOOKE, BC right now, we would have some answers. We would know that we were repelling the fire or not. We're not getting any answers. So somebody please tell me, and I'll pass it on to you folks, what's really going on out there, okay? Firefighting is cool. It's also dangerous. I was fighting fires in the Middle East in Cyprus. And we got in our Grizzlies, which are really armored personnel carriers. We roll out there. And these water bombers, these helicopters would just, boom, drop these bags of water, like close to you, like they're 30, 40 feet away, and poof, the water and the wood would explode around you. Man, I've never been to World War II, but I get it. And World War II people were getting frack, and they're getting pieces of metal coming after them from the explosions. This was just wood and embers, but it was freaking dangerous. We were fighting up there. I remember taking the platoon commander off the hill that day. He was dehydrated. He also gave us the first aid lesson the day before. Except he didn't take his own advice. So we took the platoon commander off there. I remember Big Larry Z carrying the guy and a couple other guys carrying him off. And there's so many ways to make mistakes. And it taught me a lot about firefighting in the desert. Our country is the greatest, most beautiful spot. Our forests, our minerals, our everything are so very beautiful. So what do we do? What do we do? Well, we take care of it. We are the harvesters, we're the farmers, we're the ambassadors of our land. And sitting here tonight worries me. What can I do? What can I do? My house, I got shit. I got survival gear. I even had a couple ex-wives tell me, ex-girlfriends go, Kenny, if anything goes on, I'm bringing me and the kids over to your place. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. But tonight, on this date, we do not know what's going on in SOOKE, BC. And I'm concerned. We need information. We need to relay this information. Proper channels. At one point, AI, the big industries, We're shutting down the fact that we couldn't tell news. We can't put news on Facebook and stuff. That sounds like a communist thing. That sounds like something that's so far left. It's unbelievable. Is it true? Get the people doped up. People who have a party, forget about what's going on, don't give them the information. They're not allowed to report on things. Yeah. Probably a few countries that would do that. Fentanyl, all that bullshit, that destroys a country. 148,000 Americans died. Was that 1 year? Canada's smarter than that. I'm smarter than that. I won the vice president of my high school. I was in grade 10. There's no reason why I should have won. But Billy Heinrich and Mark Heinrich wrote the greatest speech, and I just went out there and put it on. And it was as cool as Eddie Murphy at the time. We'll go back even a few more years, but people need to be inspired. I'm inspired by this country. I love Canada. And I love the fact that we can, our military, our women that raise our children for the most part, we just got this unique, incredible country. And don't poke the bear. Like, I've talked to guys. I remember meeting a guy named Todd McKee. He's been in a lot of ramp ceremonies in Afghanistan. He said, you can poke the bear, but Canadians are tough as nails. And he's been to Afghanistan once or twice, I think. So there's a level of bravery. There's a level of toughness. And even though you don't need to be a firefighter, you don't need to be a cop, a first responder, military person, you just need to know that you love your country and you're willing to put in the time. Because you can make sandbags, you can do this, you can do that, you can do all of this stuff today. But right now, I don't know what's going on in SOOKE. I might take a bicycle ride out that way. I might drive my vehicle and then ride farther in. But this is important stuff. People's homes burning down in Jasper. The pearl, the jewel of the world. There's Hawaii, there's this and that. But there's nothing greener than the smell and to see baby bears on the side of the road and friggin' giant caribou or just standing there in the most best smelling air in the world. Jasper burned down. I'm sad as fuck, man. Jasper burned down. Do you know that Jimi Hendrix drank Lucky Beer? I got a picture of him. If it's American or Canadian, but I thought I'd have a little sip. I don't want to cry. The devil's in the detail. You need to know the details. I'm trained in journalism and broadcasting over here. This spot right here. Yeah, right here. Go this way. I'll go this way. Public relations. I was always broadcasting and stuff, sports, etc. And then I went into public relations. University of Victoria. Critical thinking. I'm not a dummy anymore. I was a fledglingly crazy dummy, but to this day, not anymore. The education's there. I'm set. I got my survival gear. I'm going to check my water tanks. I'm going to check my fuel. Make sure we have something, some vehicle to get us out of here, and just in case. If it was to go through Machosen and Langford, it can happen. All you need is a really good lightning and windstorm, and it happens all summer long. So, prepare your family, talk about it, get ready for it. And I've only got a few stories. There's a few hundred other stories from other firefighters or experts out there. But right now we're not hearing a lot of them. But if we listen to The far right, they'll tell us that people out there are running around setting them on purpose. They may or may not be. I don't know. That's not my bullshit. We don't know. Okay? But we do know that it's wrong, and those people should be caught, captured, defanged, whatever. Or, for the most part, it's an act of God, lightning, whatever. Somebody throwing a butt out the window. Motorcycles in the woods. But basically, we know it's wrong, and we're Canadians, and we're Canadian strong. Very strong. So do something today, make a difference, and get a hold of your local media. You want to know hour by hour. And what do we need to do? What do we need to stockpile? What kind of equipment do we need? Where are the most vulnerable people in our country? In this area of the woods where the fire is starting up, next to a nice little small town, how many people live out there? 15,000, maybe 20,000. I don't think I'm too far off. You can check that out. Beautiful little spot on the ocean. Beautiful spot. So, there was this guy in Kelowna. I'll tell you this one last story, if you like the stories. He was watching the White House. It was all over the news. He had this house. It was white. It was beautiful. So we had to go fight the fires in Kelowna at the wineries. Save those first. No, but the houses, save the wineries, because that's where the money was. It was a weird political thing to be pushed into that. And if you're in a fire community, we don't want every, wiener head up there. If you're offering something, food, refreshments, clothing, first aid stuff, if you're there to help people, yeah, sure. But if you're there like the fake guys I've seen in Kelowna, where they were wearing suits that were completely clean, they had these little battery-operated walkie-talkies, and they'd never been used in their lifetime. Well, these people exist out there. These people are, I don't know, douchebags, maybe? I'm not going to say psychopaths or anything. I'm not a psychologist. I'm a former combat medic, that's it. I do first aid, hospital stuff. But anybody that would go around pretending there's something they're not is also very dangerous. Get your information from a good source. Victoria, BC, Saanich, BC, Sydney, BC, Metchosin, Langford, BC, SOOKE, BC, Oak Bay, BC. Get your stuff from a good source, okay? Somebody who knows. Not everybody can talk like I can. I'm quite loquacious, but I've been there, I've seen things, and what I don't want to see is something that happened when I was there the last time, because I was easy to fix. The Kelowna fire was so fast and came so hard at the people. I'm blowing air. It's like trees candling, trees exploding everywhere. And they send 2 buses of Canadian Scottish Regiment, 1 combat medic, another pretend wannabe medic, and a bunch of other people to fight a fire in Kelowna. And it was a hell zone. It was a war. So the idea here is to look around your place, set it up, get it ready. Call me if you need to know how. If you enjoy this video, send it out to other people. But make sure that you've got gear and you can get out real fast and survive. Okay? And there's many ways to do this. Start now. Get your first aid supplies. Get your bedding together. Get a couple ice boxes, ice chests together. And make sure you have that gear together. And in the meantime, Kenny Himes here, I have about 20 seconds left, is going to go out there and find out why your community is not informing you what's happening in SOOKE, BC. We lost Jasper, BC. Most beautiful spots in the world. And now, SOOKE, BC, we don't have any answers. So get a hold of somebody. Let's do this now. I'm your host, Kenny Himes. I've been there, done that, and we're done.